I am disturbed. Very, very disturbed that suddenly I'm noticing a trend in some of the travel videos popping up in the AI travel video industry. And they all seem to be targeting seniors and people over 60, which I know sounds like the same thing, but that's the terminology they use. And I'm finding it so disturbing that today I am going to be reacting to one of the most viral videos that has popped up in a couple of months and find out if their advice is any good. Hey guys, it's Erica from America, your favorite flight attendant, and today I am seriously reacting to an AI video. Check this out. Passport Pro. This video, Flying After 60, unlocks 7 hidden airport perks seniors miss. It's one of many videos that I've seen pop up in my feed over the last couple months, all of them within like the last 3 months, I would say, that seem to specifically be targeting seniors. I don't know what that's about, and I'm kind of concerned, especially because this video was posted 3 months ago and it's already got 1.6 million views, and it's an AI video. And some of the AI videos I've been watching because I'm like curious about what it is they're saying. There's a lot of clickbaity titles popping up. I watched one the other day of an AI video that claims to be a real flight attendant, and I was just appalled. I watched the advice and I have no idea if it's real or not. It was talking about TSA changes. So what I'm going to do is today I'm going to react to this video about 7 hidden airport perks for seniors and see if I agree with it or not. But I'm also going to do a little investigative digging. I don't have to be back at the airport until later this week, but if there's anything about TSA or some of this stuff, I'm going to go up and I'm going to see if I can get somebody who works in that industry to actually answer the questions. So this video is a little bit different than the other reaction videos that I've done. I'm tired of seeing these AI videos and being like, wait, what? I haven't heard of any of that. Is that a real thing? I mean, I don't talk to TSA people every day and ask them questions. I do talk to them when I go through security, but I haven't noticed what a lot of these travel sites are saying has changed. The ones that are targeting the seniors especially are concerning me. Let's pop into this real quick and let me give you a little background on this. Here's the video again. You can pause that and read that if you want, but it says the airline secrets they're hiding. Here's their channel, Passport Pro. 71,000 subscribers, 141 videos. And it says it's the ultimate guide to mastering the art of travel. We're not just another travel, we're your trusted partner in navigating the complexities of global exploration. Our team of seasoned travelers and researchers decodes the travel industry, offering you proven strategies and insider secrets. And look at all the stuff it claims to do. As you scroll down, it says that they joined March 18th, 2024. I feel like if they are an AI channel in the year and a half that they've been open, maybe they would have more subscribers. But again, I find it disturbing that they only have 71,000 subscribers, and yet this was posted August 30th, 2025, and they've got 1.6 million views, which means that people are sharing this information and very likely sharing it with seniors. And that's why I'm disturbed and concerned. So I want to watch this today, and I'm guessing it might be your first time watching it too. Let's see if this channel is actually offering anything valid. Hey guys, just popping in from the editing room. I am supposed to post this in approximately 20 minutes. I'm busting my butt on the editing and adding a few things, so it might be a little bit late. Sorry about that. Anyway, real quick, I did this video over 2 weeks because I wanted to check some stuff out at the airport for you guys. And I did get some of it I didn't, some of it I'll do in future videos. And I did accidentally not record some of the reaction. The very ending part got cut. I will link that in the end of the grab your remote section. Also, don't forget the Q&A section. I still am going to try to get that done for this Thursday because I don't have to work until Saturday. So if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments below, and I will take any comments between now and 6 p.m. tomorrow to do for the Q&A section on Thursday. So let's watch this together, shall we? Let's do this.
If you're 65 or older, you have access to 7 completely free airport perks that could save you hundreds of dollars. But here's the kicker. You have to ask for them. But why don't airlines advertise these benefits? Every free wheelchair assistance, priority boarding, and waived fee cuts into their profits. They're hoping you'll pay full price and never realize you had special privileges. Today, I'll show you exactly what to ask for, who to ask, and the phrases that get a yes. What you're about to learn could change how you fly forever. Let's take off. Number 1. Free wheelchair assistance. even if you don't need one. Here's what airlines don't tell you. Wheelchair assistance isn't just for people who can't walk. If you're 65 or older and have any mobility concerns, tired legs, heavy bags, long terminal walks, or just want to avoid airport chaos, you qualify for completely free wheelchair assistance. The airline industry keeps this quiet because every wheelchair request costs them money. They have to pay staff, coordinate logistics, and prioritize your journey through the airport. But here's the beautiful part. It's federally mandated. They cannot say no. When you book your flight, simply request wheelchair assistance. You can specify ambulatory assistance if you can walk, but need help with distances or bags. This gets you personal escort through security, often a faster line, priority boarding before even first-class passengers, transportation directly to your gate, help with carry-on bags, assistance to your seat. The insider secret? You can request this assistance for just one direction. Flying somewhere for vacation but feeling energetic for the return trip? Only request help outbound. Completely your choice. But that's just the beginning. Wait until you see what else they're hiding.
Yeah, so that wording is super aggravating. Okay, I've told you guys before in other videos that it could be considered the diabolical way to get through security faster to request a wheelchair. It's not hidden. Yes, every airport has wheelchairs. And no, it doesn't cost the airline more. At O'Hare, we actually have Prospect. Prospect is a separate company that the airport has hired to have wheelchair people on site at all times. We've always had Prospect at O'Hare as far as I've been there, and I've been there almost 9 years now. It used to be that they would leave the wheelchairs at every single gate, and anybody could snag them and help somebody to the next gate or to wherever it is that they wanted to go. I would sometimes tell moms with their kids that were carrying a bunch of bags and didn't bring a stroller, hey, grab a wheelchair and head over to the next gate. I know at O'Hare now, they have rounded them all up and put them in one area so that only Prospect would use them. It doesn't cost the airline more. It's part of the airport service. The airport, as far as I know, pays for it, or the airlines pay the company, Prospect, for this, because I do know that the wheelchairs over at United and American Airlines and Delta were all different wheelchairs, and I believe that's at most airports across the country. When you go to a smaller airport where they can't afford a service like Prospect, they do have wheelchairs at the airport that are free, and it's usually the gate agents a lot of times that will push people from the plane to baggage claim. Or it'll be somebody like a gate agent will often work on the other side of security, and sometimes they'll bring them through. At that point, it's usually the airline that does it, and it's one of their employees who's getting paid a flat rate. But for a company like Prospect, it's considered like a waitressing job. The people I know at Prospect make less than minimum wage, and they rely on tips from wheelchair people. You don't even have to do directions. You could just request it for a particular airport. So, for example, a lot of people put in their wheelchair requests ahead of time, and it shows up on my tablet who in the plane requested a wheelchair. And yes, you do get to pre-board if you have a wheelchair, but we do ask you to remain seated until the other passengers have gotten off the plane when you're getting off of the plane or making a connection, because we don't want to slow down the deplaning process and you might actually get trampled if you actually need assistance getting in and out of the plane. Yes, we will help you with your bags. I have literally seen people get on the plane with a cane or crutches, and I'll be like, I see you didn't request a wheelchair. Do you want one at O'Hare? And they're like, no, I'm fine. I can totally handle it. And then I say, you do realize that O'Hare is half a mile from end to end. And then they're like, oh, no, I did not realize that. So a lot of times then they'll tell me, okay, they want it. I'll tell the pilot will arrange it with the ground crew, or I'll tell the gate agent before we close the door, hey, the person in 14F needs a wheelchair. And then they will arrange it in the computer for somebody at the airport to hopefully meet the airplane with a wheelchair. A lot of people get frustrated because they'll get off the plane and the wheelchair won't be there for them. A lot of it has to do with gate changes. If your plane is coming in and the gate that it's supposed to come into is occupied, then the pilots will talk to dispatch and ask for an empty gate that they can go park at. So then they'll go to that gate, and then that person pushing the wheelchair has to realize it, first of all, and then they have to book it across the airport to go meet that plane. I literally talked to the prospect people many times and said, "How many steps a day do you get in it?" And they easily walk as much as 13 miles a day. So again, if you ever order a wheelchair, be nice, tip the people because they don't make a lot of money and they rely largely on tips. If you're at a smaller airport, it's the gate agent that does that. They don't live on tips. They get a flat rate from the airline that they work for. But it does suck because gate agents, especially at smaller airports, do everything in the airport from loading bags to de-icing planes and pushing wheelchairs. I call them the gate gods because they do everything. And I often tell people, don't forget about your gate agents because they're the ones that get yelled at by the passengers and they're the ones that have to pull people off the planes, not the flight attendants. They're the ones that honestly I think have the worst job in the airport and they don't get thanked at all. The wheelchair thing, that's not a secret. You don't have to be disabled to do it. You don't have to be over 60 to do it, although you can. You just have to say you have difficulty walking. If you don't speak the language of the airport you're in, you can request one, and then they will take you from one gate to the other, which will get you there faster. And sometimes it does do a lot of shortcuts. There are certain routes that they can take. There are the carts that they use throughout the airport. It can save you time, and they will do absolutely everything they can to make sure you make your connection. So the wheelchair thing is a great thing. It's not an airport secret. It's just a wheelchair. Next one.
Wait until you see what else they're hiding. Number 2, the TSA Pre-Check Senior. What else they're hiding? Number 2, the TSA Pre-Check Senior Exception. No application required. TSA keeps this surprisingly quiet. If you're 75 or older, you automatically get modified security screening without ever applying for TSA Pre-Check. No background check, no interview, no $78 fee. Here's how it works. Passengers 75 and up can keep their shoes and light jackets on during screening. You might still go through the standard metal detector, but you get many pre-check style conveniences without the hassle. But here's the part they really don't advertise. If the line is long and you're 75 plus, politely mention your age to a TSA officer. They often have discretion to direct you to shorter lines or provide additional assistance. The psychology behind this? TSA knows senior travelers are lower risk and move more slowly through standard screening. It's actually more efficient for them to streamline your process. They just don't publicize it because everyone would claim to be 75. Think that's convenient? The next perk could save you serious money.
Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not sure about that one. I will check with TSA. I haven't noticed any special treatment for older people other than the ones that are in the wheelchair. There's different lines for the wheelchairs, but I'll have to ask on that one and I'll get back to you guys on that. And I'm back like magic. So I did get a chance a few days ago to go ahead and ask a TSA agent about that, and he did say that if you are over the age of 75, they will not fast track you through the line, at least not at O'Hare. But they will not make you go through the full body scanner where you put your arms up over your head and you stand there and the machine goes around you. Instead, you'll go through the basic metal detector, which probably does mean you also get to keep your shoes on, just like a TSA pre-check. So the AI is right sort of about that. Generally, what will happen is if you're at the smaller airport, they might let you cut the line just because they're a little bit friendlier in some small towns. But at the same time, in a lot of the smaller airports, you're going to find TSA agents that are even worse than the TSA agents at the larger airports because they take themselves way too seriously sometimes. And so sometimes they're stricter at smaller airports than at larger ones, and other times they're a lot more forgiving and they allow more stuff. It just depends on the individual person. If they were to be pressed, they would stick to policy completely, which is to not allow that. So the real shortcut through security, if you are older, is just ask for a wheelchair, and you don't have to be a senior citizen to do that. You have to say you have mobility issues, and that's pretty much it. Next tip.
Number 3, hidden senior discounts airlines don't advertise. Most major airlines offer senior discounts, but they've buried them deeper than buried treasure. Why? Because they'd rather you pay full price and only offer discounts when directly asked. Here's your insider playbook. American Airlines, 10% off select fares for passengers 65 plus. But you have to call their senior desk directly. Online booking won't show these prices. United Airlines, senior discounts on specific routes, but they're not published online. You must call and specifically ask about senior fares. Southwest Airlines, no official senior discount, but their wanna-get-away fares often beat senior rates anyway. The trick? Book Tuesday afternoons when they release new inventory. The phone hack. When calling, don't just ask, "Do you have senior discounts?" Instead, say, "I'd like to book a senior fare for passengers 65 and older." The specific language triggers their system to check for unpublished rates.
Honestly, I have not heard of that. I am very curious if that's true or not. I'm going to do a little research on that this week and I will let you know. So hang on while I go figure that out. Today is actually Tuesday, but I didn't have enough time to actually make the phone call on Tuesday like they recommended. I did start to do it, but then I thought, you know what, this would make an interesting video. So, in an upcoming video, we're going to see if we can get a better discount for seniors, whether through the internet, the methods that I would use as a traveler, because I am a cheap traveler, or if actually calling in would get you a better discount as a senior citizen. So, stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to know more about that, because that'll be a video hopefully sometime before the end of January. Anyway, next tip.
Number 4. Priority boarding rights. You never knew you had. Airlines have quietly implemented senior priority boarding policies, but they don't announce them because it would create longer priority lines and upset their premium passengers who pay for early boarding. Most major airlines allow passengers with mobility needs, including seniors who find boarding stressful or physically challenging, to request priority boarding at the gate. You don't need documentation. Just mention at check-in or to gate agents that you need extra time boarding due to age-related mobility concerns. The magic phrase? "I'd like to request pre-boarding assistance due to mobility needs." Don't say you need a wheelchair if you don't, just mobility assistance. This often gets you on the plane right after families with small children. But here's the insider move. Combine this with the next perk for maximum benefit.
That wasn't really a secret, right? Everybody pretty much knows that certain groups can get pre-boarding assistance, like families with small children can ask for it, but seniors as well. That's common knowledge. They do always try to pre-board the wheelchairs first, and yeah, generally you do have to go up and ask for it because if you don't ask for it, then the gate agents don't know that you need it. So all you got to do is half an hour before boarding, just go up and let the gate agent know that you have mobility issues and would it be okay to pre-board. And most likely they'll say yeah, unless they're a total jerk. It's common knowledge. Next one.
Number 5. Free seat upgrades. When you know how to ask. Airlines train their staff to say "we're all full" when people ask about upgrades. But senior travelers have special leverage most people never use. At check-in, mention if you have any discomfort sitting in standard economy seats due to age-related issues. Longer legs need stretching, back support concerns, easier aisle access for bathroom visits. Don't exaggerate, just be honest about comfort needs. Gate agents have discretion to move seniors to seats with extra legroom, aisle seats for easier access, or even premium economy if available, especially if you checked in for wheelchair assistance or priority boarding. The key is asking politely and mentioning comfort rather than demanding upgrades. The psychology hack. Gate agents deal with demanding passengers all day. A polite senior mentioning legitimate comfort concerns often gets accommodated because you're being reasonable, not entitled.
I think that tip is actually gonna backfire on you if you do it the way that they tell you to do it. It's absolutely nuts to me how entitled people can be when they think that there's a loophole they can work. I remember one time having an older lady and she had been moved to the bulkhead row, which is the row right behind first class. She tried to tell me that she was supposed to be in first class. And I was like, "Did you buy a seat in first class?" And she said, "No." And I'm like, "You're in a really good row." And she was like, "But I'm supposed to be up there. Look, this seat has this screw here on this thing that's rubbing against my arm." And she was really working it, trying to get me to move her up to first class. I was like, "Oh, is that screw messing with you? Hold on a second." And I went and I got a Band-Aid and I put it over the screw because it was absolutely ridiculous that she was saying this. And she was still trying to insist that she was supposed to be in first class. And I was like, "Oh, you don't want to be in first class. You'll have more fun with me back here." And I did treat her well and she did have a good time, but it was obvious to me that she had done this before and that she thought she was gonna get away with it again. If it's obvious to me, and at the time I'd only been flying like a year and a half, then it's definitely obvious to the gate agents. And they know when you're trying to work a loophole, first of all. But the reason I say it's probably going to backfire for you is because do you know where they put most of the wheelchair people on a plane? They put them in the back of the plane, not in the front. And that always drives me crazy because whenever they put the wheelchair people in the back of the plane, a lot of the people that come on that actually need wheelchairs honestly can't walk. They can't even walk down the jet bridge. I have seen all kinds of mobility issues. And so walking from the front of the plane all the way to the back of our little planes is difficult for them. But that's where the bathroom usually is. On the bigger planes, that's where more than one bathroom usually is. So they will generally try to put you in a wheelchair closer to the bathrooms, very likely for accessibility issues. If they have a really hard time getting off the plane, then the gate agent is more likely to move them towards the front of the plane. I myself, when I see somebody getting on the plane, I can see my manifest on my tablet. I can see which seats are empty. I will sometimes tell them sit there instead because I don't want to see them trying to stumble all the way to the back. But most of the time, I think if you try to say that you have a problem with mobility and therefore you need more room, you might find yourself closer to the back rather than the front. Next one.
Number 6. The baggage fee loophole. They hope you'll never find. Airlines make billions on baggage fees, but seniors have multiple ways to avoid them that most travelers never discover. Military veterans. If you're a senior and military veteran, most airlines waive baggage fees entirely. You need to add your veteran status to your frequent flyer profile or mention it when booking. Medical equipment, any medical devices, CPAP machines, medication cooling bags, mobility aids, fly free regardless of your regular baggage allowance. The definition is broader than you think. Companion passes. Some airlines extend senior companion benefits that include free bags for your travel partner, even if they're not senior age. The insider secret: if you're traveling with medical supplies, prescription medications that need temperature control, or any health-related items, mention this when checking bags. Many airlines waive fees for medical necessity items. But there's one more perk that's absolutely game-changing.
That might get you an extra free bag that you can check, but it won't get you an extra free bag that you could take with you into the airport. If you have a 20-inch rollerboard, you're pretty much allowed to take that with you automatically through security. So the only way that that would help you is if they were checking it and not letting it go through security, which is generally bags that are either too heavy for you to carry or too big to be put into an overhead bin. When you get to the plane with your bag, for a lot of people, it's very difficult for them to maneuver their bags inside the plane, and maybe you want to check it. It's free to check at the gate. In fact, the gate agents will encourage you and ask people, please volunteer to check your bags at the gate because there's only so much overhead space. And it amazes me how aggravated and angry people get when they're like, there's somebody's bag in my space above my seat. And I have to tell them, there's no assigned spaces for the bags in the overhead bins. It's a get in where you fit in situation. So just put your bag anywhere, and then we're going to start moving your bags around, especially on the smaller planes. On the smaller planes, we have to play Tetris. In fact, they play Tetris on the larger planes too, just in a different way. But there's usually a lot less space on the planes. It's probably about a third, at least on our planes. On our planes, we can seat up to 76 people. The gate agent counts out 23 rollerboards that are allowed to go in. And I think we can fit like 25 or 26. But the thing is, a lot of the overhead bins only fit 2 rollerboards in a small bag. Some of them only fit 2 bags. And that's when we start playing Tetris. That's why they count out 23 and then they start checking your bags. But here's the secret too about getting your bag checked. You have a better chance of making your next connection if your bag is checked at the gate or even before security versus taking it on as carry-on. The reason for that is because we will hold the plane for the bags more than we will for the passengers. There's about a 10 to 15 minute window between when we close the manifest to when we close the door. That 10 to 15 minutes is to allow for the bags to come from the other gates and be stowed. And then a bag count has to be done and weight and balance has to be done. And the gas has to be put in the plane to balance the weight of the plane. And the pilots are doing all their checkoff systems and everybody turns in their numbers. That's why a lot of times everybody gets in the plane, everybody's sitting down, and then you're just sitting there and nobody's moving, and you're like, "Why did I run?" Because the manifest would have closed 10 to 15 minutes before. So, they will more often hold a flight for a bag than they will for passengers. So, that's a little secret. Doesn't work every time, but it can help. It can help if you're running over there instead of waiting for a bag to come up on the jet bridge or a stroller or something like that. You can't take your strollers in the plane. Well, the other thing too is, let's say you're getting onto a plane and you have medication in there and you want to bring your bag in the plane and they're saying no. Sometimes if you say, "Well, I have my medication in this bag," depending on the airline policy, they might let you bring that bag in and put it in the closet, although not all. Like our airplane, we are no longer allowed to put the bags in the closet, but most likely they're going to tell you to check it anyway and to take your medication and your life-saving items out of that bag, including any lithium batteries. So, if you do have medication, make sure you put it into a smaller compartment size bag that you can reach in and pull out of that bag because you're going to be doing that on the jet bridge. If you come down the jet bridge with 3 bags, the flight attendants are not going to let you bring all 3 bags into the plane no matter how much you did or didn't pay, because we are told usually this number of bags is all that's allowed per person. There's your secret about free bag check. Next one.
Number 7. The airport lounge access secret. Yes, even in economy. This is the perk airlines guard most jealously. Senior travelers often qualify for complimentary lounge access in ways that have nothing to do with your ticket class or credit cards. Medical accommodation. If you need a quiet place to rest, take medication, or manage health conditions, many airport lounges provide complimentary access for seniors with medical needs. You simply need to explain your situation to the lounge staff. Flight delays. Senior passengers affected by delays or cancellations often receive lounge vouchers, meal vouchers, or accommodation assistance before other passengers, especially if you mention any mobility or medical considerations. Hidden military veteran benefits. Senior veterans often get free lounge access through programs they don't even know exist. Check with airline customer service about veteran benefits beyond just baggage fees. The key phrase, "I'm a senior traveler with medical considerations, and I'm wondering about accommodation options during my layover." Don't demand access. Ask about options. You'll be surprised how often they find solutions.
I don't know about that one. I'll ask when I go back to work this week if that's true or not. I'll pop into a couple of lounges and ask if they allow that kind of access. If they do, they definitely don't tell us. I'll get back to you on that one. Unfortunately, I did not manage to make it to the lounge this week. When I was flying, I had to go from one place to another, and I happened to pass TSA, and I happened to talk to a gate agent before getting on the plane. So I was able to ask the questions that I needed to ask for that, but I did not get a chance to go to the lounge. However, one exciting thing is this week I just got my new camera glasses. I think they kind of make me look like Tony Stark. Little I am Iron Man. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to secretly record it. Even though if I do record anything, I am going to blur out whoever's faces I talk to just because of contractual purposes. I don't want anybody getting in trouble. But that is going to be a future video about lounge access, so stay tuned for that. Let's get on to the next tip.
The words that unlock everything. Here's your master script for claiming these perks. Don't be demanding. Be informative. Hi, I'm 65 and traveling today. I wanted to check what accommodations might be available for senior passengers with mobility considerations. This single sentence opens the door to wheelchair assistance, priority boarding, seat accommodations, and customer service solutions. The magic is in being specific about your age and mentioning accommodations and considerations rather than demanding specific perks. Remember, airline staff deal with entitled passengers all day. Seniors who are polite, specific, and informed get much better treatment than those who demand or complain.
I think that's true about the wording for the age. Probably is a trigger. For example, on the planes as flight attendants, when we have parents with their babies, if the child is under 2 years old, they're allowed to sit on their parent's lap for taxi, takeoff, and landing. But if they're over 2 years old, they have to be in the seat. And we ask the parents, how old is the child? And if the parent says 2, then we're like, the child has to be buckled in. For some parents, that's ridiculously hard because the child is going to scream and throw a major tantrum if they have to sit in the seat and they can't be on mommy or daddy's lap. There have been times when I've had children that just refuse to sit. I remember one time this one little monster of a child wanted to sit with their mom, who was sitting in an A seat, which was by itself, and the kid was sitting with dad, who pretty sure never dealt with the kid. And I think they sat that way so the mom could get a break, and the dad was more of the authoritarian in this family. But the boy was throwing an absolute fit trying to sit with his mom, and the dad was not having it. And this kid was basically screaming and would not stay in the seat. I told the dad, go ahead and hold on to that kid as tight as you can. If you can't get him in the seatbelt, I'll allow it as long as you're holding on to him, because I could tell that dad was not letting that kid go anywhere. I probably would have gotten in trouble with that because that was probably like my first year and a half in, but it was very clear that the child was not going to stay seated, buckled in, even with mom sitting next to them. They were a spoiled little booger. And I don't say that often about children. I really don't. I like children. Most of the time I can glare them into behaving, and the parents usually appreciate that, which I think is funny. But if they think that pilots can fly at 65 years old, I'm sure they think that they're not senior citizens. Just use the trigger word, I'm a senior, or mobility issues. I think that's true. And I'm officially late at posting this. It is now 6:20, and hopefully I will have it up for you guys in about 20 minutes or so. But grab your remote if you haven't already, because I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick. Basically, they gave you an order of when to use the different terminology, and it's all just basic crap. But the link is going to pop up, so if you want to go watch the video, you can. And if you like what they had to say and you want to follow them, feel free. No judgment on my part. But basically, they were saying that you want to order the wheelchair way far in advance. You don't need to do that. You can do that when you get to the curb at the airport. You can do that in the airport. You could do that after you've gone through security. You could do it at the gate. You can do it at any gate when you're walking to your gate. If you suddenly find that you're too tired and you can't walk, just walk up to any gate agent. Or if you see somebody pushing a wheelchair, let them know as well, hey, I need a wheelchair. And they will say, okay, sit here. I'll send someone for you. That's generally how that works. If you are over the age of 75 and you don't want a wheelchair, just assume you're going to have to stand in line with everybody else. But you won't have to put your hands over your head as long as you identify that you're over 75. But keep in mind, when you're going through TSA, they are checking your ID and your ticket. So if you say, I'm over 75 and your ID doesn't say that, you're just going to look like you're lying. And if you look like you're lying, they're not going to trust you. They're going to be more suspicious of you. They talked about getting discounts and doing it 24 hours before your flight, but it seems like it would make more sense to do it while you're trying to book the ticket the first time. Again, I'm going to test that out in an upcoming video, and we're going to see what's the best way to get those prices. And if you want early access to the plane, you just got to let the gate agents know that you need help pre-boarding. They're generally going to say yes, especially if you mention that you have mobility issues. You don't even have to say, I'm a senior citizen. All you have to do is say you have mobility issues and look like you have mobility issues. If you look like you're young and fit and you're a teenager and you're walking up there saying, I have mobility issues, they're going to be like, yeah, get in line with the rest of them. When it comes to medications and all that, all you got to do is let them know that's what's in the bag, because that's not really considered regular baggage. That's considered a medical necessity. So they're generally going to allow that in, but they may make you shift your stuff around to try to keep it to the 2-bag payload, just for weight and balance. And that's about it. If you guys have questions, make sure you put them in the comments below, and I will try to get to them by this Thursday's Q&A. I am going to be flying between this Saturday to the 20th, so it is going to be harder for me to make videos for the next couple weeks, but I am going to continue to try to at least get you guys one on Tuesdays. If you guys like this video, please make sure to hit that like button to let me know. That way I get an idea of what topics you guys like best. And if you're looking forward to the lounge video or what I do with my new Tony Stark glasses, make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell, so then that way you can be notified of all my cool stuff in the future, and probably the review on these as well. See you guys in the next video. Ciao!